So this is going to be a short talk, 10 minutes. I guess lunch is ready, so we're not going to keep you here longer. If you have any questions, we will be very happy to talk about anything you want offline. As Chris just showed in her presentation, the DutchX is an open platform, an open protocol. So there's a number of services which can connect to it. These services are of different categories. As you can see on the topmost row, there's interfaces. And what we built is an interface for sellers. So in particular, we decided to target retail investors. In the context of this talk, of our application, we can call them casual users. This is Kunal.
Hello.
I am Rocco, and we are front-end developers for Midas. Midas' main product is a mobile investment app for retail investors. And as such, of course, we are interested into integrating exchanges. And these exchanges better have some cool features. And as you just saw, the DutchX seems to have a bunch. And there's one we're particularly interested in it's guaranteeing fair market prices. So this is definitely something we want to provide to our users. The thing is, the DutchX is actually very slow, of course, by design. And another obstacle we would have for our target is that the casual user might most probably not be familiar with what a Dutch auction even is, and nor the mechanisms of it, right? So, reason for which we came up with the following goals. We do want to abstract away the underlying action details. But at the same time, we believe the users should and have the right to know what's going to happen with their tokens. And so we are going to provide all necessary information. I'm going now to list a few concepts and strategies we came up with in order to achieve our goals. And later, Kunal is going to show you how we implemented those in practice. So we want it to be simple. That is, we don't want to have more than the minimal set of elements and steps which are strictly required in order to carry on the desired action. The action being simply selling a specific kind of token and then coming back and claiming another token. At the same time, we want to be transparent, so anything which is not straightforward has to be explained. But you might say, dude, you cannot have it both ways. But maybe it all boils down to how and when we show specific kinds of information. So we came up with 3 strategies, which all have as a common denominator the way we structure explanational information, like explanations. How about we have information to be layered? Say we have 3 layers of information. So the first one would be basically missing any references to the underlying mechanism. The user could then access if he needs or if he wants to. Another layer of information where we would explain with proper words, simple words, anything which is actually going on behind the scenes. But this would also contain some links to a 3rd level where that would be maybe official documentation detailed through explanations. Another strategy is to customize the information we want to show depending on the user details, so tailored to the user. And we all are different, and so are our wallets, and we should use that. Finally, for some specific use cases, some information we might want to show on the fly or just in time. These would be those situations for which the same information shown before might just result excessive, redundant, and maybe confuse or scare the user. So Kunal now is going to show you how we implemented these concepts and strategies into practice.
Thank you.
You can go on.
So based on the design concepts and challenges that we observed, we came up with this design. It has a good color contrast, a familiar look, and most importantly, you always know what's going on. So, yeah. As with any trading platform, there are always a bunch of legal entry cases involved, but we made a conscious decision to keep them much later so that people can explore this without having to go through the legal details and feel more welcomed, and the product becomes more usable. And then you go ahead, you pick a sell token, you pick a buy token, you set an amount, and you click exchange. In DutchX backend, you have to deposit and sell. But for the user, we are showing just what's actually happening. That is a token exchange. And once you click exchange, we show you what DutchX is doing behind, which is it takes some time because it's fair. And during that time, your money is locked and you cannot do anything about it. This just adds a layer of transparency and gives some confidence level in users' mind. Once you click deposit, you have to sign it in MetaMask, and sometimes for some reason that window is in the background, so we just show you a notice. Click here to continue with your transaction. As soon as your money reaches the contract, a list pops up where you can always see where your money is. From now on, you can always track it here. You can see when it started, if it started at all, and if it has ended. You can withdraw it by clicking on a single withdraw button. Again, in DutchX backend, there's claim and withdraw, but for the user, it's a single button to get their money in their account. Also, you can always dig deeper into the nitty-gritties of what's actually going on and learn more about the details. Another point of abstraction that you might have noticed is the concept of transaction itself. In EazyX, we are not calling it an auction, but a transaction. It is a transaction to exchange one token with another, but it just takes longer to get fair price based on demand over a period of time. And one more interesting challenge that we faced was to include Ether in DutchX, because as Chris mentioned, DutchX is for ERC20 compliant tokens, and Ether is not one of them, but casual users usually have enough Ether to trade. So when you have a auction where you're getting wrapped Ether, we always give you an option to get it as wrapped Ether or Ether. Similarly, if you have auction where you're selling Ether, we always inform you that this will work slightly differently. Your Ether will be wrapped and put into a wrapped Ether market instead of an Ether market. So you always know what's happening with your money. But of course, the user doesn't need to know what wrapping and unwrapping is and what ERC20 compliance is. Another concept that DutchX has is that of fees. You can reduce your fee, or you can pay your fees by other means. But what we observed was that new users usually don't have enough Magnolia to influence the fee level that they have. So we don't mention it initially. But as soon as you accumulate enough fee level to enough Magnolia to influence the fee level, we inform you that you can your fees has been reduced and you can use that. Similarly, if you have enough OWL tokens to pay half the fees, we introduce a checkbox to opt in to pay with your OWL, otherwise it's not there. So this is what we came up with based on our assumptions and observations. Now we're moving on mainnet, and when we move to mainnet, we are trying to improve this based on some anonymous analytics and some user-based feedback. And this will also help us collaborate better with the Gnosis team and adapt and grow. At Midas, we are very excited about this project. Of course, you can find us outside or online to talk more about this. Thank you.
Thank you very much.